Shadowed Battlegrounds presents Max Manus, The Sabotage of the Nazi Transport Ship. The cold night air bit at Max Manus's face as he crouched behind a row of barrels near the Oslo harbor. The shadows clung to him like a second skin, a natural camouflage in the dim light of the crescent moon. His breath came in controlled, measured bursts, his senses sharpened to a razor's edge. Tonight's mission was critical. Destroying the German troop transport ship, Donau, would cripple the Nazis' ability to reinforce their occupation forces. Failure was not an option. Max's fingers tightened around the detonator in his hand, his mind running through the plan one last time. He and his team had scouted the harbor for weeks, learning every guard's patrol pattern, every shift change, and every vulnerable spot. The explosives were already in place, strategically positioned along the hull of the ship. All that remained was to detonate them and escape into the night. But as Max moved to signal his team, a faint sound reached his ears, the soft crunch of footsteps on gravel. He froze, his heart pounding. From the corner of his eye, he saw the silhouette of a German soldier approaching, the dim light glinting off the barrel of his rifle. The soldier was too close, his route taking him directly toward Max's hiding place. Max's mind raced. There was no time to signal his team or adjust the plan. He had to act. Silently, he reached for the knife strapped to his thigh, the cold steel familiar in his grip. As the soldier drew nearer, Max tensed, every muscle coiled like a spring. The soldier paused just a few feet away, scanning the area with suspicion. Max could see the man's breath in the cold air, hear the slight rustle of his uniform as he shifted his weight. In one fluid motion, Max sprang forward, his knife flashing in the darkness. The blade found its mark, silencing the soldier before he could raise an alarm. Max lowered the body gently to the ground, his pulse still racing, but his focus unwavering. He wiped the blade clean and returned it to its sheath, then quickly moved to the edge of the pier. He glanced at his watch, 2 minutes until the scheduled detonation. He needed to get clear of the blast radius, but he couldn't leave without ensuring the success of the mission. Peering through the gloom, he saw the Donau, dark and silent, the explosives waiting like coiled vipers beneath the waterline. Max tapped the side of his headpiece, signaling his team to withdraw. He moved swiftly along the pier, his eyes scanning for any other threats. As he reached the end of the dock, he heard the unmistakable sound of boots on wood, more soldiers. Max's heart leaped into his throat. They must have found the body. No time to think. Max dove off the pier into the icy waters below, the cold shock nearly taking his breath away. He kicked hard, pushing himself deeper as he swam under the pier, away from the approaching soldiers. The water was dark, and the weight of his gear made every stroke a struggle, but he pressed on, his mind locked on the countdown. 10 seconds. Max's lungs burned as he fought the urge to surface, knowing that the explosion would follow any second now. 5 seconds. He could feel the tremors of the explosives activating, the water around him vibrating with the force of the impending blast. 3, 2, 1. The underwater explosion erupted with a deafening roar, sending shock waves through the water and blasting a column of seawater into the sky. The Donau shuddered and began to tilt, its hull breached and rapidly taking on water. The soldiers on the pier shouted in alarm, their voices lost in the chaos. Max surfaced behind a cluster of rocks, gasping for air as he watched the ship begin to sink. The mission was a success. The Donau was going down, but there was no time to celebrate. The harbor was swarming with German soldiers, their flashlights sweeping the area as they searched for the saboteurs. Max knew he had to get out, but the cold water and the exertion were sapping his strength. He spotted a small fishing boat moored nearby, its engine still running. With no other options, he swam toward it, every stroke an effort of will. Reaching the boat, Max hauled himself over the side and collapsed onto the deck, shivering uncontrollably. He forced himself to his feet, gripping the boat's wheel as he set a course away from the harbor toward the safety of the fjords. As the boat cut through the water, the lights of Oslo faded into the distance. Max allowed himself a small smile of satisfaction, despite the bone-deep exhaustion that threatened to overtake him. Another mission complete, another blow struck against the Nazi occupation. But as always, there would be more to come. The war was far from over, and Max Manus was far from done. If you like this story and want to see more, click on the icon top left. If you want to help support our channel, please hit the subscribe button on the top right.